Hey there. Why do I always start the podcast like that? It's like I'm getting ready to do an infomercial. Hey there, fellas. Do you guys suffer from erectile deficiency? Deficiency? Is that what it is? ED, erectile deficiency. That sounds like you're either you don't have a dick or you're missing the portion that's necessary. What the fuck? It's dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction. Do you suffer from erectile dysfunction? Well, too fucking bad. You should have gotten more sex when you were 20. Anyway, for those of you that have been sending me numerous emails and direct messages calling me an asshole for not keeping up with my normal standard of 2 podcasts a week throughout January. Let me just say this: go fuck yourself. No, I've been busy. My kids have been off and on sick. I got other shit going on. The song and dance. I'm trying to revamp this podcast a little bit. As I said in the first podcast of the year, in the year of our Lord, I'm trying to sort of refine it a little bit. I'm trying to get away from just, giving you guys an hour of me yelling and screaming at you. I want it to be a little bit more focused. And like I said, I want to be the solution guy. That's what I've decided to call myself, even though, I know how douchey it sounds, but, I'm sick of everybody pretending like, like the problems that we have in this country or just in life in general are so fucking difficult to solve. And, so I've decided to, I'm trying to keep it in that realm, and sometimes it becomes, I don't know. How should I say this? I mean, maybe the first podcast of the week is usually the one that's the most focused. If I do a second podcast in the week, it's usually just sort of random, out of the blue shit. It sometimes isn't as entertaining as I'd like it to be. So, who am I fooling? I've just been fucking lazy. That's the reality. It's just, Thursday or Friday will roll around and it's just like, do I want to make a podcast or do I want to watch, fucking Friends, reruns or some shit on TBS? I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to try and get back to the 2 podcasts or, 2 or 3, depending on, what's going on in the world and what I feel like talking to you guys about. Fuck. Okay, I know what. Here's going to be the first solution. Although it's not really a solution. It's more of just let me open your eyes to what's going on. I think the last podcast, which was last week, maybe it was the one before that, I can't remember. I mentioned that I'm no longer going to be tweeting, well, I guess to kind of to reframe that, I'm no longer going to take part in the back and forth yelling and screaming that's pretty much a given on Twitter or really any social media. I've decided that I'm no longer going to give my opinions on other people's tweets or anything to that matter. And if I'm just sort of reduced it down to if I see or if there's a video or a little tidbit of relevant information, I will post that, and that's it. If anybody tries to converse with me, I'm not going to do it. And I mean, it's been tough. It has been tough because I still go through the feed. I still look through my timeline. I still see what people are talking about, but the more I look at it, the more I realize how ridiculous that whole, how ridiculous it is. The people are yelling and screaming at each other. They're getting emotionally invested in what other people have to say. And 9 times out of 10, the shit that people say is based on nothing more than either their opinion or what somebody told them. A lot of people, especially on the the establishment Democrat side, or the Hillary supporters, a lot of them, you can tell they've done really zero to no research. All they do is sort of regurgitate what the other what do they call them? What the fuck is it? I don't know what the phrase is, but the so-called inspiration fucking tweeters or whatever. All they do is just kind of regurgitate what they've said, and you can tell that even what those the so-called it's not inspirator. Is that even a word, inspirator? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck the phrase is. Basically, when they tweet something or they put something on Facebook, influencer. That's the word I was looking for. You can tell even these influencers haven't done anything other than just sort of regurgitate what someone higher up the financial or social totem pole has said. It's just it's a load of shit. And the more I've had to refrain from responding or just taking part, but it's getting easier, kind of like when you quit smoking or some shit, or you start dieting or whatever. The more time you spend dedicated towards not repeating that negative behavior, the easier it gets. And I'm kind of at that point now where it's like these, like you just see how ridiculous and vile people are to one another. Not that I really give a shit about that, but it's just, I don't know. It makes you think when you take a break and you just sort of step back and just look at the way people communicate with one another. But that's not the fucking solution that I was going to offer today. Today, I'm going to talk about Sally Albright. Now, for those of you that are on Twitter or Facebook, I don't know if she's on Facebook. You're pretty familiar with her, whether you're on the establishment Democrat side or you're a progressive. A lot of people are very familiar with this so-called person, Sally Albright, right? And she says a lot of very inflammatory shit, usually directed at progressives or people that follow Bernie Sanders or whatever. Well, I decided to take it upon myself to do a little research on Miss Albright. And what I have found is I don't think she's a real person. I don't think Sally Albright actually exists. And the reason that I think this is because when I did a Google search of her, first of all, in images, the only two that pop up are the ones that she sort of recycles in between as far as her avatar. 2 pictures. I looked into her LinkedIn account because she has one. And the job that she claims that she holds now, which is at this what the fuck was it? I wrote it down so you guys can look it up yourselves, so you know that I'm not just making shit up. On her LinkedIn account, it says she currently works for the Waterfront Group. I looked up Waterfront Group. That company does not exist. There's the company that she claims to work for is Capital Waterfront Group. No such group exists. I looked on the There's, the hyperlink that's on her account or whatever on LinkedIn. It's supposedly to a company called, it's www.capitalwaterfront.com. I clicked on that and it takes me to GoDaddy, which is basically, for those of you that don't know what GoDaddy is, they basically create websites. You can go on there and create your own website. The website does not exist. I'm going to have to assume at this point that this persona, I'm sure it's somebody, but it's not this person, Sally Albright. She does not exist, as far as I can tell at this point. Now, how did I spend hours upon hours, looking into her history? No. But just from the results that I was getting, I have to surmise that Sally Albright is basically just an internet troll or a Twitter troll that has gone to extreme lengths to create this character. I mean, gone so far as creating a website, going on LinkedIn. As far as I know at this point, she does not exist. And if she does not exist, then you have to question her presence on Twitter. You also have to question why so many people have allowed themselves. And I'm not going to pretend like I always knew that she wasn't a real person. It's just how many people have gotten into screaming matches with this so-called Sally Albright. And it turns out that this person most likely does not exist. She's not a real person. So either A, it's somebody of a different name pretending to be this person, or it's a troll that realized that, people are going, it's a very smart troll. People are going to kind of look into my background and, and they're going to do these Google searches to find out who I am. And then they're going to put, or they're going to look for things like my LinkedIn and my pictures and whatever. And maybe she exists, but it's not looking good on as far as doing a search. So at this point, if you are one of these people that argues with her, I would just stop. To be honest with you, I would stop, because on the surface it looks like it's just a troll, and judging by her Twitter history, I don't know if she, what this person, or what presence they have on Facebook. I don't know, because I'm not on Facebook. But as far as her presence on Twitter, almost every single tweet that she's put out there has been basically just some very inflammatory, just some ridiculous, you can't believe somebody actually said this type of stuff. So at this point, I have to assume that this Sally Albright person does not exist. It is a persona made up by somebody. I'm not really sure who, but it appears to be a troll, at least on the surface. If you have actual evidence that this lady exists, I would love to see it. But as far as the search that I did, I don't see it. To me, it appears that this is just some random person that took on a persona. It got, pretty big pretty quickly. And they took the necessary steps to try and cover their tracks, but they didn't go far enough. Maybe they didn't anticipate that someone like myself would, actually click on the links to the jobs that they claim to have held or currently hold. As far as I can tell at this point, Capitol Waterfront does not exist. There is no Capitol Waterfront group. There is a Capitol Waterfront Financial or something, but it's in Canada. It's, I don't know. Do the research yourself. All I'm saying, but the lesson is not that, that there's fake people on Twitter. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows these people exist. Everybody knows that trolls exist. But the lesson is, if you, let's say Sally Albright is a real person, like how Joy Reid is a real person, or Peter Dow. Imagine how much time and energy is spent, whether negative or positive, responding or reacting to these people's accounts, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. What you hear a lot of the time from progressives is that they're upset, and I'm progressive, so I'm not trying to talk shit about progressives. I am a progressive, but they're really upset about how these people are like public figures, and that they sort of influence the narrative. And it's always the bullshit narrative. It's always the only reason Hillary lost was because she's a woman, and not the fact that she has a horrific political past. They like to throw out that one of the main reasons that she lost was the emails that she supposedly lost during her FBI investigation. Except the only emails that I was ever really concerned about were the ones that were released through WikiLeaks, where they were talking about the corruption that was going on with the DNC, and the fact that they were pushing for Trump to run, so because they considered it an easy victory, even though that obviously blew up in their face. Those are the only emails that I've ever been concerned with. But even then, that wasn't enough for me to decide to not vote for her. The reason I couldn't vote for her is because of the shit that has gone on with her when she was Secretary of State, when she was a senator, and when she was just First Lady. The Clintons' policies have hurt the middle class and poor and people of color for about 30-something years. A lot of people are very unaware as to what they did and how their policies affected them, because you see a lot of people, especially people of color, that will defend the Clintons till they're blue in the face, and you can tell that they have no idea what policies were passed during Clinton's presidency, or what she did while she was Secretary of State. They have no idea. Their opinions are based 100% on the fact that Bill Clinton once smoked some weed and played a fucking saxophone on Arsenio. He was considered back, when he was president, he was considered like the people's president, right? Because he had supposedly smoked weed, as though everybody else in DC had never smoked weed. I know everybody was pretending like, like they were squeaky fucking clean and all of that. He was considered the people's president. And so it's understandable why so many people defend the Clintons. But the only reason that they defend the Clintons is because they've either bought into the narrative that they've gotten a fucking raw deal, or that that the reason people don't like Hillary is because she's a strong woman, and all this fucking nonsense. And it's just, all you have to do is just look into the policies that Bill Clinton created and passed how those policies affected workers and people of color and just the middle class in general. All you have to do is look as far as Hillary's political career. Just look at what she did to Libya, the fact that she was behind the wars. I've said this all in previous podcasts. There's no need to repeat it. But going back to my original point about progressives being upset at these sort of talking heads that influence the narrative, the easiest fucking solution, especially when it comes to like Joy-Ann Reid, right? She at least twice a week says something absolutely ridiculous. And I have to assume that she's not dumb. You know, we live in the day and age where scandal, controversy, or saying something controversial is what keeps you relevant. It keeps you in the news, and as long as you're in the news, whether it's what's that old fucking motto, all press is good press, good or bad or whatever. I'm 100% certain she's aware that is that the best way to stay relevant, to appear to be a voice of reason to the world, is to constantly be at war with what's perceived as the opposition. And for her, it's the progressives, right? It's not the fact that the Democrats have voted overwhelmingly in favor of most of what Trump has wanted to do. I don't want to get into all of that, but I'd said this before on this podcast and on Twitter. If you want to shut these people up, these so-called influencers of the narrative, if you want to shut them up, then all you have to do is not respond to their craziness. Doing a fucking boycott or sending out angry tweets to MSNBC or wherever it is that Joy Reid has a position. It's useless, because what they see is, oh, she's managed to create buzz. She's managed to get everybody angry. So yeah, of course we're going to keep her on, because then people are going to watch her show and follow her Twitter, timeline or whatever, Twitter account. They're going to watch their show just so they can have something to say about it afterwards. If you think that Joy-Ann Reid and MSNBC or CNN or Fox News or whatever, if you think these people are unaware of the power that negative press holds, then you're naive. You're an idiot, to put it fucking bluntly. You're a fucking idiot if you think that the biggest motivation behind a lot of the shit that they say isn't to try and just generate some attention. You want to shut Joy-Ann Reid up, you want to shut Peter Dow up, you want to shut this so-called Sally Albright up, then don't respond to them. It's all you have to do. I mean, isn't, like Peter Dow, didn't he create that Veritas or whatever the fuck it was, offshoot of Twitter, where only the Hillary Clinton supporters, where they could have like a safe space to converse with one another, and for a while it was doing okay, but the only reason it was doing okay was because of all of the Bernie supporters and progressives that were going there and just harassing them. But the minute they stopped doing that, and the 15 people that are still fucking hoping Hillary Clinton becomes president, when it got quiet and suddenly they realized that they were in a room filled with people that agree with them, and now the controversy and all the discussion, it all starts to seem more like a fucking pep rally, then that fucking that website began to die. I'm not even sure if it's still around at this point. If it is, it's definitely on life support. All you have to do, if you want Joy Ann Reid to shut up, if you want her to no longer have the power that she has, or this Sally Albright, or fucking Peter Dow, or any of these other fucking twats that make a point of coming on Twitter or on social media and saying these ridiculous things, if you want to shut them up, the fucking solution to that is to stop responding, stop reacting, stop talking about them, stop forwarding their stuff with like, can you believe what the fuck she said or whatever. Stop it. Just ignore them. They will go away instantly if you just ignore them. It's kind of like, you know, the stupid advice that parents usually give to kids when they're being bullied. Just like, oh, just ignore them. They'll, you know, eventually they'll leave you alone. I mean, and you know, when you're dealing with a bully, like, you know, in real life, you can't ignore them. You have to face them. That's the only way they stop fucking with you. If you ignore them, or you don't fight back, you know, or if you just take the shit that they're shoveling, then they'll keep on doing it. But when it comes to online bullies, which Joy Ann Reid and this Sally Albright persona and Peter Dow and all the rest of the fucking cunts, when it comes to online stuff, the easiest way to defeat them is to ignore them. You know, everybody pretends, like I said, everybody pretends like the solutions to these problems are difficult when they're really not. They're really fucking simple. You want to shut these people up? Stop reacting to them. Stop liking, you know, their posts. Stop, you know, giving thumbs down. Stop talking about them. Stop mentioning them in your tweets and in your Facebook posts and wherever else that you happen to indulge in this useless form of communication. Just stop. They go away instantly. And like I said, this Sally Albright, as far as the you know, the research that I did, it doesn't appear as though that she's a real person. I have to assume at this point that it's just a troll, or it is somebody that's within the establishment fucking you know, group that has found a way to sort of say all the shit that they wish they could say without being held accountable for it. Right? They pretend to be, you know, it's kind of like authors that give like pen names, right? It's like, you know, they write a shitty book and they go by a different pen name. You can't be like, oh, what the fuck happened to fucking, what's the guy that wrote It? I keep wanting to say Steven Spielberg, but that's not it. Stephen King, you know, like if Stephen King writes a really shitty fucking book and he knows it's shitty, you know, just put it under a different pen name, and nobody thinks like, fuck, man, what the hell happened to Stephen King? They're just like, oh, what happened to this fucking guy, Andrew Garfunkel, or whatever the fuck? You know, my apologies if an Andrew Garfunkel really exists and is an author. I'm not saying, I don't know. I don't know who the fuck you are. It's just a name that came to me. You know, maybe you write really good books. I don't fucking know, and I don't really give a shit. Speaking of It, I watched that fucking movie this weekend. And I have to say that I don't get what all the fucking hype was about this shit. That movie wasn't even, it was not one time was I ever afraid or scared. And I mean, mostly it has to do with the idea that, I mean, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you already know that I think this fear of clowns that everybody pretends to have is just fucking bullshit, you know. Are there some people out there that really are afraid of clowns? Sure. Is the number of people that claim to be afraid of clowns, is that true? I think it's horseshit. I think it became, just like anything else, it became a fucking fad to say, oh, you know, clowns are so fucking scary, I'm so afraid of clowns. You're not afraid of clowns. What you are is afraid of not fucking being considered part of the in group. That's what it is. You're not afraid of clowns. You want to fit in. You want to appear to be fucking wacky or kooky or awkward or whatever it is that people are so fucking proud of being nowadays. That's all it is. You're not afraid of fucking clowns. You're afraid of just being an ordinary fucking person. You know, and that's precisely how things like fucking, Sally Albright and stuff. That's exactly how these things start, right? It's just somebody that's afraid to just be an ordinary fucking person because now apparently you have to be this super fucking interesting person in order for anybody to give a shit about you. And the reality is, back, like, okay, let's take Facebook, right? Facebook was at one point designed, I assume, just so, long lost friends could reconnect, right? And then it got kind of stupid where it was like, oh, how many Facebook friends do you have? And somehow, if you didn't have like a fuck ton, somehow you were like some sort of like pariah or some shit. And you started to see people would, you'd look up like people that you fucking never even had a conversation with, and suddenly, oh, we're Facebook friends now. Because it all just fucking boiled down to, I need to have X amount of friends in order to be considered relevant or loved or liked or whatever it is that people were searching for. That's probably about the time that I checked out of Facebook. I was just like, oh, this is horse shit. This is just a fucking popularity contest where somehow I'm supposed to feel like shit because, I don't have, thousands of fucking Facebook friends. It is slowly fucking morphed from that to, how many followers do you have? And suddenly it's like you're forced. I think this is exactly how a Sally Albright emerges, right? At first it's just, I need some attention. I'm feeling lonely or whatever the fuck. So I'll create this fucking persona, assuming that this isn't, some establishment Democrat's sort of pen name or whatever, is just, I feel lonely. I need some fucking attention. The more followers I can gain, the better I supposedly would feel, even though they've done studies and they found out that, that the number of fucking followers or likes or whatever it doesn't correlate with happiness. It starts out there, then they say something outrageous, right? And there's this huge response. And then they start to, they kind of figure out the formula, like, all right, if I say something outrageous, people like it, so I'm just going to continue to say outrageous shit, even if it's something I don't even fucking believe in. I'm just going to fucking say it because look at the response. This is how all of the, the big fucking Twitter accounts and YouTube accounts, this is how ordinary fucking people that nobody would know about if it weren't for these forms of media. This is how they've become popular. Aside from the celebrities, obviously, I would expect celebrities to have the tens of thousands or even, maybe even millions of followers and fans. But if you've watched, or if you spent any amount of time on YouTube, for example, and watched some of these guys that are like, considered the top fucking YouTubers. If you ever spent really if you're an adult, I get why kids, think a guy like Logan Paul or whatever the fuck, why they think he's so fucking hilarious. But if you're an adult and you watch the fucking crap that gets put out there that somehow is considered funny, you realize, what, this guy's a fucking asshole. He goes into, to people's establishments and just, fucking wrecks the place. And somehow this became, a popular thing, right? I've seen the fucking videos where, they'll be in a car or whatever, and then they'll get out and they'll fucking run on the top of somebody else's car. And I don't know. It's just like, when did being a fucking asshole become something that people aspire to? Like, I have to constantly tell mostly my son, I have to constantly, like, there's nothing funny about these fucking people. And I have to constantly, like, okay, yeah, you think it's hilarious that guy got out and danced on the roof of somebody else's car, damaging it. You think that's fucking funny. I was like, well, think about how the guy that's driving the car, or the girl that's driving the car, that suddenly there's this fucking grown man jumping around on the car, fucking kicking dents in it and shit, and it's all for fun, just so that they can get some likes and shit on a stupid social media channel. And it goes in one ear and out the other with him, but the point is still there. People have learned that the best way to get attention, if you're not, if you don't really have any sort of fucking talent, is to just say and do the most outrageous shit. And the more popular you get, the more benefits there are. I mean, I understand why, especially on YouTube, since, you got people out there that are making, a serious living off of doing something as ridiculous as playing a fucking video game or playing video games. I get the appeal of it, but at the end of the day, you have to realize that you have been tricked into, I don't know. I don't even know what the fucking phrase is, but as far as it goes with with Joy Reid and Sally Albright and Peter Dow and Joe Walsh, a lot of these fucking guys, the easiest way to shut them down is to just stop reacting to the shit that they fucking say. Because sooner or later it becomes like that, like Peter Dow's website, where it's just a bunch of people that agree with one another, having a conversation, and it gets boring, right? Because the glue that sort of holds the extreme fucking perspective together is this idea that they're all in it together, fighting against the opposition. Right? And the only way that they have the opposition is if they say something that's inflammatory, and then, whoever they consider to be their opposition responds or reacts to it. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking lame. And I invite anybody that's listening, that spends any amount of time, even if, just on Twitter, just take a break for a week. Right? Don't post anything, and just sit and just watch how people talk to one another. Look at you start to see things like people purposely. I mean, it was always kind of, I was always kind of aware of it, but I wasn't really aware of how rampant it was. That the people that will just pretend to not understand what somebody else is saying, and it's all just this fucking song and dance to keep a conversation going, because they don't have anything better to do in their life. Am I saying that everybody that's on Twitter is, some lonely shitbird? No. I mean, obviously, there are people out there that they got other shit going on, and they just happen to get caught up in the bullshit that goes on with Twitter. But just take a week off. Even if you don't have a Twitter account, if you're on Facebook, or if you find yourself constantly in the comments section on YouTube, just take a week off and just watch. I guarantee you, all it will take is a week. It may not even take an entire week for you to figure out how stupid it is that you allow these fucking social media sites to basically control your mood and behavior. When you start seeing how ridiculous people are, and it's not just the side that you don't like. I mean, it's on all sides. You start to see that, like, people that you know, if it's political, that you politically you agree with 100%. You start to see how sort of ridiculous they are and how much time they waste on just foolishness. And this podcast hasn't been, wasn't I talking about it? How did I get back on this shit? Yeah, I saw the movie, and you know, the acting wasn't too bad. You know, if I'm gonna give any sort of credit to this movie, the acting was actually, I mean, for the entire movie basically having to be carried by kids, I'd say that you know, they did a fucking pretty good job. But was it scary? Not even a little bit. Like, my judge on if something is fucking scary, it kind of sticks with me after I watch the movie or whatever, you know, or maybe for that night I might be like, oh, I don't know if I want to be in complete darkness or whatever, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, there are some fucking movies and some sort of, you know, some concepts that still freak me the fuck out. Like, I still get freaked out about that movie, The Ring, or The Grudge, or whatever. You know, these are movies that it's obvious, those things are not possible, but they stuck with me. They stick with me, you know, even though I saw those movies, you know, 10 fucking years ago or whenever the fuck they came out. They still stuck with me. But it just wasn't fucking scary. You know, yeah, the clown, the fucking guy that played the clown, yeah, you know, he seemed kind of fucking creepy, and, you know, in his eye, you know, he had the fucking whole, like, wall eye or whatever the fuck, you know, where your eyes look two different directions. You know, yeah, he has that, but there's nothing fucking scary about anything in the fucking movie. Like, even the times that they were trying to do the jump scares, like, even that was like, you know, like this is what qualifies as fucking scary now? Like, there was nothing fucking scary about that movie. So I don't really understand all the fucking hype, except for the people that like to pretend like they're afraid of fucking clowns. You're not afraid of a fucking clown. You're afraid, like I said, of just being an ordinary fucking person. And the fact that everybody's so afraid of just being ordinary or not being fucking constantly interesting, you know, that is the reason that shit is crumbling all around us, because everybody is so focused on trying to be that fucking interesting person or say the kooky thing or go viral or whatever the fuck it is. That's why everybody pretends like the problems that we have are so goddamn difficult, and that they, you know, it takes this like complex fucking fucking formula to fix shit. You know, everybody's pretending that it's difficult so that they'll have something to bitch about on social media. You know, you'll have one side that's like, you know that they don't really feel that fucking way, but they will take the unpopular fucking position because that keeps them feeling fucking fulfilled for some ridiculous goddamn reason. You know, it's all a bunch of fucking people just afraid to be fucking ordinary, to be fucking boring. You know, you'll find out who your real friends are, or the relationship you should be in when you find somebody that you can just be fucking bored with and they're okay with it. Where you don't have to be like fucking, you know, super interesting all the goddamn time, or be constantly making them laugh or whatever, or having like these thought-provoking fucking conversations all the time. You know, when you find somebody that's just like, you know, sometimes you're fucking interesting, sometimes you're not, but I still love you. You know, when you find people like those are the people that are really your friends or your real fucking loved ones. Anybody that's constantly expecting you to be fucking, you know, like twirling the fucking plates while, I don't know, juggling fucking chainsaws. Anybody that expects you to always be like that is not your fucking friend. You've officially you've become their clown. Somebody that they come to entertain them when they feel like they need to be entertained. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to end the podcast here. My apologies if it wasn't funny. But I feel like, far too many people have fallen fucking, prey to these people that have realized that the best way to keep themselves relevant is to just say some outlandish shit that they really don't even fucking believe. And on occasion, the person that gains fucking notoriety for saying all this controversial shit, it turns out that maybe they don't even fucking exist. I invite anybody to find real proof that Sally Albright is a real fucking person, because I don't see it. I don't fucking see it. You want to shut her up, even if she does exist. If you want to shut her up, you want to shut Joy-Ann Reid up, you want to shut Peter Dow up, you want to shut Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh or Alex Jones or, whoever. You want to shut them up, all you have to do is stop paying attention. Stop reacting to the crazy shit that they fucking say. That's all you have to do. They go away immediately. Because as soon as the conversations they have aren't filled with debate and arguing and controversy, the minute that all goes away and it starts to feel like just a bunch of fucking cheerleaders in a pep rally, then they dwindle away. I mean, would Joy-Ann Reid continue to have a show if nobody gave a fuck but the people that like her watched her show? Would she still have a show if it wasn't for all of the people that react to the crazy shit that she fucking says? Would they have as big of a fucking following? Because I know that there are plenty of people out there that follow Joy-Ann Reid or Peter Dow or Sally Albright or whatever, just so that they can just see the ridiculous shit that they fucking say. You want to fucking here's something that will work instantly. Everybody that doesn't like Joy-Ann Reid or Peter Dow or Sally Albright or Sean Hannity or fucking Rush Limbaugh or whatever, if everybody right now unsubscribed to them, their fucking following, I 110% guarantee gets cut by half at the very least. I mean, think about how much easier, how less stressful your days would be if you stopped paying attention to these people or these outlets of fucking stress. How much easier would your day be? How much happier would you be if you didn't feel like, okay, what did fucking Joy Reid say today? Or what did Sally Albright say? What did Peter Dow say? What did Alex Jones say? What did whoever, fucking Jordan Peterson or Sam fucking whatever the hell his name is? How much less stressful would your day be if you just stop listening or looking for the people that cause you so much fucking stress? Like I've said, in plenty of the podcasts, like I'm at a point now where it's like, either do something to solve your fucking problem or shut the fuck up. You wouldn't be as stressed if you didn't fucking react or follow or even pay attention to the people that irritate you so much. The fact that you follow them as well, it's kind of a contradiction, right? Because you hate what they fucking have to say. You hate their presence. You hate that they fucking continue a narrative, and yet you're following them. What the fuck? Is that because you want to torture yourself, or do you want to just have something to fucking react to and say so that you can feel fulfilled? Do you know how ridiculous it is that you find any sort of fulfillment responding or reacting to people on fucking Twitter or Facebook or in YouTube or on YouTube comment sections or Instagram or any of these fucking things. You want to shut these people up, then just fucking unfollow them right now. Unsubscribe, unfollow, block, whatever. Do whatever it is. You watch how quickly they disappear. But of course, it takes everybody actually doing it and not just a few people that have come to the same conclusion that I have. The only way to shut these people up that you claim to be so upset with is to stop fucking reacting to them. Stop responding to them. Stop talking to them. Stop forwarding their fucking posts. Ignore them. They go away. At the very least, they changed their fucking tune. They realized that, oh shit, I can't fucking create the outrage that I used to fucking create. So now maybe I'll start being honest with the people that fucking pay attention to me. Maybe I stop, continuing the narrative that is 100% detrimental to fucking society in this country. At the very least, that's what happens. Which is still a fucking victory for you. Like I said, it takes people actually doing something rather than bitching about it, rather than creating angry fucking tweets and Facebook posts or retweets or whatever. It takes actually doing something about it. And like I just said a couple of fucking seconds ago, either you solve the fucking problem and you do what it takes to solve the problem, or you stop bitching about it. I'm tired of hearing about how fucking vile and whatever, disgusting or stupid or whatever, these people are. And yet you follow them or you fucking make a point to even discuss them. I mean, all social media is at this point is a fucking popularity contest. Right? And people feel popular. They feel like they have, they feel popular, especially when they have haters. Yeah, they like having people that love them, but they love the fact that they have haters because they can point out, like, look at how fucking popular or successful or whatever it is I am because I got all these people hating on the shit that I fucking say or do. All you have to do is just stop fucking responding to them. Stop reacting, unfollow, unsubscribe, all you have to do, and they go away instantly. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to end this fucking podcast because I'm starting to get angry, and, I don't know. I'm trying not to do that, all right? I'm trying to just be the solution guy. That's all I'm trying to be for 2018. It's the fucking solution guy. But anyway, so, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you're having a good week thus far. It is Monday, and I know, for a lot of you, it's big, the fucking return to the grind. I 100% fucking sympathize with you. But anyway, I'm going to try and give you another podcast later this week. But if I don't, you're just going to have to fucking live with it. Anyway, all right, I'll talk to you again soon, all right? Take it easy, don't take any shit, and go fuck yourself. Peace.